So within our cluster, let's go ahead and type. So in here, what I'm going to do first is type get, API and then resources. And I want you to see the resources. So enter, and there we go. So if I scroll up, we should see that we have a replica set, and it's right here. Just have a look. So RS, which is a replica set, and this is the short name. It also comes from apps and then v1. It's namespaced. Now, the cool thing is that we don't have to create the replica set on its own, because when we create the deployment, so in here, when we create the deployment creates a replica set for us. So never create a replica set on its own. Always use deployment. So this is what Kubernetes tells us to do. We should never use replica sets on its own. Always use deployment. Also, the same way that we saw that we should never create pods on its own, we should never create replica sets on its own, and instead use a deployment. Now, if I go back in here for a second, and let me clear the screen. Now, let's go ahead and say kubectl get, and then I can say rs, which is for replica set. So replica, and then set or rs. So enter. Check this out. You see that we have one right here. So this replica set was given to us by the deployment. So we can also describe the replica set. So kubectl describe replica or rs, and then this is very interesting. So you can see the random number. Now the random number helps us to deploy a new version of our application. So if this was just hello world, Kubernetes wouldn't be able to release a new version of our application. So let me just show you quickly. In the slides before, so in here, remember, so currently we have version 1, which is the replica set, and currently we only have one pod in here, right? So this right here, it's hello world with a random number. When we want to release a new version, it creates hello world replica set with a different random number. So this is why this right here has to be random. So describe rs, and let's just grab the name in here, paste that, enter, and again we have a bunch of information right here. So we have the namespace, selectors, annotations. You can see that it's controlled by the deployment hello world, replicas, one, and then one desired, one pod running right here, 0 waiting, 0 succeeded, 0 failed. And then we have the pod template as you've seen throughout this course. And then always we have the events at the bottom, and the type is normal, reason, successful create. And this is from the replica set controller. So you've learned about controllers, and here created pod, hello world, and then this is the random number, right? So if I type, so in here, so if I type kubectl get and then po for pods, have a look. So this is the pod that the replica set did create. So in here is the same one. So there we have it. Also, make sure that you don't delete the replica set because it's managed by the deployment. So if you want to delete the application, you go and delete the deployment itself and not the replica set. Next, let me go ahead and show you how to scale our application. So currently we only have one instance of our application running right here, 1 out of 1. But basically we want to have, for example, 3 running at the same time. And that's what I'm going to teach you next.